It might be a few pounds you want to lose, or a smoking or drinking habit you want to kick. Whatever it may be, it is a universal fact that there's always something we want or need to change in our life because we want something better, or we know something is just not good for us to retain. To achieve this lies in changing our behaviors or habits. And for most of us, that's a tall order, but not impossible. Discover how to change to a better behavior to have a better life with dynamic living, the total you.
Sigurado ko kung gusto ninyo ang inyong mga tihog na tunggal kalkulation. Will take a very short break and then when we return, we'll continue on with other things do you have in mind that you believe to end your needs and that which first world class care ay nabibigay ng mga tao dito sa Pilipinas. It is a very symmetrical and whatever the problem Welcome to Dynamic Living, the Total You, our dear viewers and listeners over the radio. Our friends over there, we are actually very blessed and happy to be here at the Adventist International Institute of Advanced Studies in Silang, Cavite. We are going to discuss today better behavior, better life with our experts here and our friends from this school. I'd like to welcome to the show Dr. Cesar Galvez. He is a professor of health behavior change in this institution, and I'd like to say welcome, sir, to Dynamic Living.
Thank you, Dr. Jean. It's my privilege to be here, and I am here to share some resources for giving power to those who want to change.
Yes, I like what you said, Dr. Galvez. Power to change. You know, change is something that everyone should be, able to take in and for their improvement. Then, of course, we are also joined in our discussion this morning in associate or an assistant counselor and whose expertise is in behavior psychology. I'd like to welcome Ms. Yuta Ozalina. Hello, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be part of this program, and thank you for inviting me.
Yes. So let's start off with maybe ask the professor here, Professor Dr. Galvez, behavior. When we talk about behavior, what is it really all about?
All of us, we have a lifestyle, which is our personal style of living. And a simple definition of lifestyle is the sum of your daily habits. What time you eat, what time you go to bed, if you exercise or not. So a health behavior is a habit that you practice every day. The basic unit in lifestyle is health behavior, which eventually, when you repeat that behavior, becomes a habit. And the habits as a whole make the lifestyle.
In other words, what you're telling our viewers, Professor here, everything that you do on a daily basis, on a regular basis, becomes part of you.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so, Ms. Yuta, you being a counselor, and I know also that you are new to our country, right? So how do you assess the Filipinos?
Filipinos are very friendly and very hospitable.
How long have you been with us?
1 year, almost 1 year.
All right, and we hope that we've extended that hospitality to you. And in your work, in your line of work, Ms. Yuta, what are the most common problems that come to your attention?
Most common problems, I would say, are relationship issues, mental health issues. People are struggling with addictions, and they had maybe traumas. They're trying to overcome traumas, childhood abuse, marriage problems, parenting difficulties, stress.
Would you
like
say,
that.
Ms. Yuta, that these day-to-day activities that you are faced with, like, you know, you get to see them in your office, you know, with all these problems. Are these similar to what you have way back in your country?
They're similar, but they're also a little bit
Dissimilar.
different. What's different here, I think people are more reluctant to come to counseling because this is a shame-based culture. So they're hesitant to actually, they're ashamed to go for counseling.
The reason why I asked that, Professor Galvez, is because if you really look at it, the way Yuta, you know, said that the problems that come to her attention, some of it are also behavioral in nature, right? So, and our topic today is better behavior, better life. So do you believe, Professor, that by trying to help these people, you know, have that mind setting, that's priming, wherein they can do some changes so that the impact and the influence later on becomes translated to a better person, is really present for each individual?
Yes, that is true, because, for instance, right now, the cause number 1, cause number 2, and cause number 3 of death is heart attack, stroke, and cancer. And these 3 killers depends on the lifestyle, depends simply in what you do every day. 85% of death because of a stroke and heart attack could have been avoided. So health behavior is an issue that not only will improve your life, but also will save your life. If you practice the appropriate behavior, it will extend, your life will be extended, and you can see how your family is going to grow, you can see to who your children is going to be married, and you can see the consequences of your investments in life.
Actually, Dr. And even Miss Yuta, if you notice, what he mentioned are actually public health concerns, right? Cardiovascular, in other words, you have heart problems, you have heart attacks, you have stroke, hypertension, diabetes. All of these are actually public health issues that are even recognized globally, because even the Centers for Disease Control and the WHO has ranked them accordingly. Now let's talk about habits, okay? Now you said that, okay, it's a choice. Now if we're talking about habits being part of you because of the behavior that you've chosen, is it possible that a person who has bad habits, you know, has already been ingrained in the mind of that person, can that person still have the ability to change?
Yes, from a psychology perspective, every habit can be volatilized. That means can be extinguished, can be changed. So it's possible. You can program a behavior, and also you can reprogram any behavior you want to change. Is it possible to change?
But you see, here in the Philippines, we have this, you know, axiom, Miss Yuta, wherein they say that you cannot teach new tricks to old carabaos. In other words, if it's already there, it is really very difficult for you to have a change towards what you have been doing. Do you believe that, Miss Yuta? In the counseling that you go through, you know, with your clients or patients, is it really difficult for them to have that change?
Yeah, it's actually very difficult because our habits are ingrained in us, and actually they're encoded in our brain. And that's something automatic that we do, because changing your habits involves a lot of energy. It's easy to do what you have always been doing because it comes automatically. So changing habits is very hard.
In other words, it really takes a lot for you to be able to do a 360-degree or 180-degree turn. So, Professor,
Yeah, I would like to compliment the good answer by saying, I never said it's easy to change. I said, is it possible to change from psychology perspective? But it's true, it's very hard to change.
so what motivates then that person to be able, because both of you, you know, we believe that it is difficult because by psychology, that is us, But here is the other side of it, wherein it is very possible. So what motivates a person then for that person to say na, okay, I want to do some changes in my lifestyle, I want to change my behavior towards certain things?
A man knocked my door the other day. He was a professor, and he told me, I have been diagnosed by the physician that I have diabetes, and the possibility of having a heart attack is imminent. Please help me. So that man was motivated by the danger, by the perception of his susceptibility to death, or to die, right? But there are other motivations that truly motivates us to change. Most of the time, as Ms. Jutta says, most of our habits are determined by our culture and by our emotional components. For instance, what makes a mother to give a bottle of milk to her children by adding sugar adding sugar? Why? What makes us to eat 4 times a day white rice? Behind of that are huge cultural components, and some of them linked to emotional components, and that makes hard to change.
Yes, Ms. Yuta. Would you like to add to that? The motivation there, according to the professor here, is yes.
Actually, it's right what Dr. Galvez said, that pain motivates a lot of people because you want to get rid of pain. That's one of the greatest motivator. It's harder for people to, for example, stop smoking if they are not sick, if they are well, because the reward of maybe health, it's somewhere far away. The danger of getting sick is not imminent, so it's harder for them to change at that moment. So you're right, pain is a motivator.
There are additional motivators to change. For instance, family, all right? Mothers may change the habit of adding sugar to the bottles of their children if they would know that fact, that adding of sugar to the bottle of their babies are in certain way programming them to have diabetes in the future. That can motivate them to change. So not only is the fear of sickness, is also the desire of loving your family, of performing your duty as a family member, as a mother, that will make you change.
In other words, what you're saying, Professor, is simply that if you really truly love your family, you would do everything in your power that you would be able to help, as early, as young as they are, to be able to live a healthy lifestyle.
Yes, there are also other motivators. Prevention goes to sickness, but promotion is about health. So these are two concepts very different. When we talk about prevention, this is a concept around disease. But when we talk about promotion, is a topic about health. Another motivator is when we see health as a treasure that we need to possess to have a success in life, to make business, to have better family. That is another motivator to us.
Yes, I like what you said about promotion, because even as medical students, even the young people today, and even the professionals, Miss Yuta, they know that prevention is better, than getting to be cured. And in the colleges of medicine today, we always have these subjects on preventive medicine, because we believe that by doing things that will prevent you from getting sick, it will be less costly on the part of the person, on the part of the family, on the part of society. But what he said about promotion is something like you are now trying to educate people on how things should be done, right?
Yes, yes. For instance, a person who exercises every day, or at least 5 or 6 times a week, let's say walking 35 minutes every day, or doing aerobic exercise 4 times a week, what's going to happen with that person? That person is not going to avoid heart disease or high blood pressure. The most important thing is that exercise is going to empower that person mentally, emotionally, spiritually, just to perform the activities, his activities or her activities of every day. He's going to become a better husband, a better wife. They are going to become better parents because exercise produces endorphins. And when a person's brain is full of endorphins, he or she is going to be willing for better job, is going to have enthusiasm for facing life. So those motivators to promote health, to have much health, to do right things in life, can be a good motivator to change.
Miss Yuta, following the line of thinking of Professor Galvez, which I really agree with what he's talking about, in your encounters with your patients or clients or people who need your counseling, have you seen that, or maybe have you, in the course of discussions, have you seen also that the motivators for these people to get well, because you're dealing with mental health illnesses, you're dealing with family problems, that one of the motivators for them to be able to surpass whatever they're going through on the negative side is actually the belief that they would want to have a better life and a better, become a better person?
Yes, definitely. They would have to have a better marriage. For example, they notice they're angry and they come because they say, this is not me. I'm afraid of my anger. I want to fix it. I don't want to ruin my marriage, my relationship. So that's a motivator.
Yes. When we say, Professor Galvez, about a positive change and a negative change, can you please tell our viewers, when you say, okay, I want a positive change in my behavior?
Yeah, the first step from my perspective is before initiating any plan to change is,
whether it be positive or negative.
Yes, is identify the negative behavior you want to change. Let's begin with something simple, okay? I do not do exercise. I hate doing exercise. But lately I understood that I should be engaged in an exercise program. Then you have to set a goal, the positive behavior, and just one behavior at a time. Many people do the mistake, the wrong way of trying to change 2 or 3 behaviors at the same time. That's not good. Only one behavior at a time. And it's good to write the positive behavior by saying, for instance, I will do exercise aerobic Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 6 to 6:40 a.m. in the Proceres Park.
In other words, Professor, you're telling our viewers that you need to be able to put it with a timeline and possibly, be very specific about it, because otherwise, if you just say, I will do my exercise, that's it, period. So when, how, and how much time would you be spending? Because I think that's a problem. You see, Miss Yuta, here in the Philippines, I do not know with other countries, but it's very common that during New Year's, okay, at the beginning of the first day of the first year, they have New Year's resolutions. And part of the New Year's resolutions would be things that they would want to change in their behavior. So let's talk about exercise. So they would say, okay, I will be doing my exercise so I can be better, I can be fit physically, and I can do things better. So that's it. And you will be surprised that, for the first month, maybe they do it. But then on the second month, on the third month, on the fifth month, they're not doing it anymore.
Yeah, I think it's very important to have specific goals, and in order for behavior to be, habit to be formed, you have to repeat it again and again and again, and you have to be consistent. And in order for you to be consistent, the goal has to be specific and attainable and easy, something easy that you can do, so that you can feel the rewards right away. If people don't feel the rewards, they're more likely to stop. Also, it's very important that you have a support person. Social support is very important, and when your motivation goes down, then this support person will motivate you to go and continue.
All right. Yes, Professor.
Yes. Another requirement to those mentioned by Ms. Yuta is our positive behavior we want to practice should be measurable. That is very important. At the end of the day, I can say, I practice, I achieve 100% of the behavior I proposed in the beginning of the day. Let's say, if my goal is to do exercise 4 times a week, aerobic exercise 4 times a week, then at the end of the week, I can evaluate, I say, oh, this week I ran 2 times. That means I achieved 50% of my behavior. That is important. The behavior we want to change should be written in measurable terms. Then I can say, if I did 3 times a week, 75%. If I perform the 4 times, I perform 100%. So that is important. And when you write behavior, positive behavior, in terms of time and place, where, when, and something really important is with who, social network, the brain is more enabling to change. It's very simple. Most of people fail in doing changes because they do not place the new behavior in a specific place. Where are they going to practice that behavior? What specifically are they going to do? And when? How often? How often? And something important that Ms. Yuta say, social network. If it is possible, with who I'm going to practice that.
Yes, because support, encouragement, will inspire you, motivate you to be able to achieve what you have set to achieve, right? It's just like Ms. Yuta, you mentioned at the very beginning, wherein there is also addictions as part of the cases that you get to see. Addictions is a negative thing, and you want to be able to rise above that. And this, you would want to change that addictions that you have so that you are able to channel it into better things. So you're changing your behavior. So goal setting is one, and then you do it with somebody who will give you social support. Now, how important is the institutional support also for whatever you would want to get into in terms of changing your behavior for better? Let's start with Ms. Yuta.
I think it's very important. Support groups are very important, like Alcoholics Anonymous. That works in America. I'm not sure if you have it here.
I think they do also.
Okay, yeah, I think they're all over the world. Because it's very, very powerful when you meet other people who have the same problem, and you learn from each other and you keep each other accountable. That's very, very powerful.
Professor, so Ms. Yuta here believes that institutions should be as supportive to any change in behavior that a person should set into. So like, for example, let's take this institution here in IAS. So the things that the members of the community here does is actually supported by the institution. So it makes it more powerful. It makes it a better determinant, a motivator for one to have that goal, to be able to achieve that goal.
Yes, there is a discipline in public health which is called workplace health, which is very important now in the world. And it has been proved that institutions, workplaces that support a healthy living for their employees and personnel are institutions that will prosper much more. Employees will work with much better availability, commitment to the institution. And of course, the difference between health promotion and health education is that health education is educate the people, the individual itself, for make changes. But health promotion is to change, to reinforce the environment, the rules, the support of the institution to promote that change. It's like a school. Let's take any school. If you have a school of children and you educate the children, it's good for you to eat at regular times, which is very important for health of the body. But if in adding to the education of our children, we also educate the parents. You also parents need to eat at regular times. So you will teach by example to their children when to eat and when you have to avoid eating. But in addition to that, if the professors in the campus set up a policy, we are going to have just one break to eat, not 2 breaks or 3 breaks to eat, just one break for eating a good snack. Then that is going to promote the health not only of one child, of the entire school.
In the same manner, like for example, exercise, if you believe that being sedentary in your work, like, most offices are sedentary, they're just in front of the computers or in the classrooms. But if you are promoting also, exercise and a healthy lifestyle, you would make sure that there will be breaks wherein the students or the workers would be able to, be physically active, right? Ms. Yuta?
Yeah, actually, there are some good companies in America. They are rich. Like Google, for example, they have a gym right there at the workplace. And they also promote healthy eating. They have a cafeteria there, and they place the healthy foods in front and the unhealthy foods that not so healthy at the back, so that it's harder to reach them.
Actually, that would be a good one, and I think that should be one of the things that this show aims to be able to reach people, and understand and make them also, motivate them to approach management so that they would also be partners in these healthy behaviors that we're talking about. We'll take a very short break, and when we return, we'll continue on with our discussion here with our guests here, Better Behavior, Better Life. Please stay tuned to Hope Channel.
Go.
Lula tanong tambagulan, may isa ka player na.
Hindi ba? Relax lang. Apil ba? Hindi na ka magtugay ba? Isa lang good ka oras.
Kamulo pa man kung basa ani nga libro gaw. Papag ikaw study ayon na.
Kira na katunga na bitaw ka.
Mogid, bisa magiging isa ka page diya. Wala pa may kapangabli.
Pero gaw, kabalo ba mas itong maista ani nga subject? Sige ba siya gatag og quizzes? Ingon pa siya nga mag-andam ta permi?
Sis.
Pero ba, di ba nakapaminaw ka sa leksyon ni ma'am? Sus, ikaw ba?
Bitaw.
Great cake ka.
Ito kaya.
Madumduman ni mo na tanan.
Sige. Sara ko oras ha?
Okay, class, get your workbook. We're gonna have a quiz.
Di na kinimayo bay ka nang bisa ko mapya sa inyo ha, magtuon sa ako.
Unsa? Ano man? Dula sa taba ka isa lang.
Ato na tagad ta. Nag-text ako si Francis. Pwede daw siya makapil. Ta.
Sige, amping mo gaw.
Open it to page 365.
Welcome back to Dynamic Living the Total You with our episode, better behavior, better life. We are here at the Adventist International Institute of Advanced Studies with my very good resource guests, Professor Dr. Cesar Galvez and Ms. Yuta Ozalina. So a while ago, we were discussing about, the basics of behavior change. Now let's talk further, because we believe, we already said that goal setting is a must, support is very important as well. But then, what about attitude? Like, for example, okay, how important is attitude here towards, wanting to change, the desire to change your behavior for a better, to become a better person? Let's start with Miss Youth.
Attitude is very important. Actually, you want to change. You can't change something that you're really not interested in changing if it doesn't come from yourself, from within. It's very important that you want to change. I think that's
so the need, the desire, and the recognition, most probably, Professor, right? That you have to recognize that something needs to be changed for the better. Otherwise, why would you change something that you don't think and believe that there is a need for it?
Yeah, attitudes are feelings more than thoughts. So in order to change a behavior completely, it is necessary to change our knowledge, our attitude, our feelings, and our behaviors. We won't practice a behavior unless we have the intention, we have the wish, we have the want, and we like to practice that. And in order to happen that, is very important, the motivator that we were discussing now.
All right. Now, I know, let me show this to the viewers. I have here actually a book, The 7 Secrets to Change, which is, the author is right here with us, Professor Galvez. What made you, come up with this book about change, about, the secrets to change? Are there really secrets to me changing myself for the better?
3 things motivated me. First of all, as I said in the beginning, heart disease, stroke, and cancer are already become pandemics in the whole population. The people who is dying in the world every day is equivalent to 375 planes with 200 passengers each. That is the amount of people who are dying every day because of these 3 factors. For 2030, this will increase. People will die because of heart attack, stroke, and cancer, equivalent to 525 planes with 200 passengers each every day. That's
a staggering number,
that
Professor.
Is a reality.
And
yeah.
actually, that's reality, because if you look at the Centers for Disease Control and the WHO mapping, actually that's reality, and it is already projected that what numbers you've been saying is actually going to be what will happen in 2030.
Yes, the second motivation is this: to reverse this situation that for now, unfortunately, medical science does not have the solution to this problem. But from public health perspective, we do have sources, we do have alternatives. Then one thing is that people need to implement the knowledge they have. For instance, we know that eating sugar, especially hidden sugar in our food, is dangerous for our health. But we like to eat sugar. Then it's
Professor,
difficult to change.
Professor,
how are,
yes.
we going to change? That is the second motivator. Give some source, practical source, how to change. When you want to change, how to change effectively. And the third motivator was, since it's very hard to change, we need professional assessment. We need these theories these models of health behavior change. This book, this model, The 7 Secrets to Change, bring the whole theories, some of the most powerful theories of health behavior change, and combines in a simple model that everybody in the population may understand and may practice for effective change. Those were the 3 motivations.
Okay, Miss Yuta, you know, Professor here was explaining something about sugar. I was about to tell him, you know, at the middle of his sentence that when I am so much under stress, you know, I crave for something very sweet. So that would be sugar. All right? That's why a bar of chocolate would always be handy when you're so much under stress, so much under pressure. It gives you a boost. Okay, what about you, Miss Yuta? All right, so we will be discussing in a while what are these secrets, but personally, on a personal level, do you have a secret yourself that you would want to share to our viewers whereby, you know, there was a difficult phase in your life or a behavior that you would want to change and how you attained and made it a very successful move on your part?
While Yuta is thinking,
Yes.
I can help with something.
Oh, you can? Okay.
One family member in my home used to do exactly like that. Get a chocolate, get some donuts, but now you know what she does? She took some almonds, some raisins combined, and every time when she enters into this crisis, just she eats some of that.
So it now removes...
And that removed completely sugar, and now the body adapts to almond and raisins.
I think I should try that.
With less damage.
Yeah, so I think I should try that because that's my weakness.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, what about you, Miss Yuta?
Actually, this was kind of a forced change, but I had some health problems and I was forced to change my diet, basically. I had to eat certain times and less in certain foods, and I simply had pain, and that's motivated me to change.
But at least you are successful whatsoever with that.
Oh yeah, I was really successful with that.
So yeah, let's talk now, Miss Yuta. Let's ask the professor here. Okay, what's secret number 1? Because there are 7 secrets here that you wrote in your book. But for our viewers now, they must be, you know, wondering at the back of their minds, what are the secrets that he is talking about? So maybe we can, you know...
You can try to summarize.
Yes, summarize the
some
secrets.
of the secrets.
Some of those.
Not all of them.
Yeah.
One thing Ms. Yuta mentioned, I think, is very important. She was motivated by pain to change some habits, some new things to eat, and so on. Because that was part of an analysis which is called pros and cons. So if a person wants to change any behavior, since stopping smoking, or stopping drinking, or stopping eating too much sugar, or I want my children to eat at regular times because they are exposed to sickness. So something important is to analyze the pros and the benefits. That means, in practical terms, what are the consequences, that is the cons, what are the consequences that I might have in my life and my family if I keep practicing this behavior? So my recommendation is to write your perception about those consequences. For instance, if I keep being a sedentary person, not an active person, what are the possible consequences? So it's good to make a list. I'm going to gain weight. I will be exposed to heart attack. I'm going to feel tired. All your perceptions, make a good list. But also at the same time, it's good to make another list of the benefits. Those are the pros. What I'm going to gain if I become active, if I practice exercise every day or 4 times a week? Let's do a list. I'm going to not only lose weight, I'm going to feel energetic for doing my stuff. I will have more control of my temper. I will have more energy for my issues, then I will prevent constipation because, let's say like an example, right? So this analysis.
Actually, yeah, you're right. When I think back, that's what I did. When I was tempted to eat something that I know would cause me problems, in my mind I was reminding, okay, I can eat this, but I'll suffer later. So you have to talk to yourself and encourage yourself. Your self-talk is very important. What you tell yourself at the moment when you are tempted to do the behavior that is not good for you.
In other words, you need to be able to enforce, what you have. All right, like what you said, you are going to suffer if you're going to do this, or you're going to get sick when you do. There will be consequences.
Yeah.
Would I want to go through the consequences? So that's a very important question, Professor. Would I want to suffer the consequences of my bad habits, of a bad behavior that I have?
So the brain has the opportunity of choice. When you have in front of you the cons and you have in front of you the pros, your brain is going to engage in true change. Many people fail in changing because they depend on their willpower. And willpower is like a muscle.
Yeah,
When the muscle gets tired, willpower gets tired and you fail. But when you base your change in the practice of a skill is an ability that anyone can learn by learning, by practicing. And this, writing a goal behavior in specific terms, in measurable terms, this thing of setting the behavior I want to practice in a place, in a time, and now if I write the pros and cons, all this is the shaping of a new skill in your life. Your brain truly is going to change.
Yeah, because just imagine, even when a child or a young professional is going to choose the profession that he or she would be entering, it would always be good for you to be able to write down, all right, what are the choices that I have? Will I go to the College of Medicine? Will I go to nursing? Will I go to this? What would be the advantages? What would be the disadvantages? So it's just like behavior change, right? So let's talk about, Professor, about time as a barrier. Sometimes we keep on saying, we've been talking about, you have to set a goal, you need to make it achievable, something that you can feel and can see the evidences or the effects of what you've been doing. But time, sometimes has a way wherein you do it now, and then tomorrow I feel tired, I don't want to do it. Or maybe a year after, I get tired, I stop doing the exercise, or I stop smoking for a year, and then I, go back to it. So what can you say about that?
I think that that's an excuse for most people, that we do have time. If we combine all that wasted time that we use, checking phone, checking email, checking Facebook, it's a good idea to make a log, what you do every day, and small increments of time, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you can combine those, and then you can find enough time for exercise. You just have to show the people that actually there is some time, wasted time, that they can use.
Yes, Professor?
People feel discouraged because they don't have time, because they fail since the beginning. Remember what it was we said before? When you set a goal, you have to place the goal in a certain period of time.
So do it one step at a time. I call that, I have a term that I would like to share with you. I call it a piecemeal approach to a concern, to a problem, or to an achievement that I would want. When I say piecemeal, it's just like, we don't eat the entire bread, place it in our mouth. We do it piece by piece, so that we are able to achieve satiety, we become full, we finish the bread that we're going to eat, but then we achieve what we're supposed to achieve, which is to make, to eat healthy. So if you want to set a goal, a behavior wherein you want to be healthy, you want to have a health lifestyle change, Then you do it step by step. So the goal setting is one, writing down everything, and then slowly you do it in a manner that you believe you are able to attain. I think that would be better.
Yes, Jean. Something that might help is what Miss Jutta said. Talk to your brain. This is important. Every time I promote exercise among my graduate students, not only in the Philippines, in Thailand, or wherever I go to teach this in South America, exercise to a group, I made them repeat and convince by themselves this phrase. Exercise is as important as eating and sleeping. And they have to repeat. Exercise is as important as eating and sleeping. When you convince your brain, when you say, Caesar, right? I'm talking to myself. Caesar, exercise is as important as eating and sleeping. What's going to happen in the brain? The brain is going to align. We won't say again, there is no time. Do you give time yourself to sleep? Of course. Do you give time to eat? Yes, that's automatic. When you convince your brain and you talk to your brain in positively, Caesar, exercise is as important as sleeping and eating for you. You can do it.
Yes, Miss Jutta.
I think it's important to put the reminders like that in your house. Maybe stick to your post on your mirror or somewhere that can remind you. Also, it's important that it becomes part of a routine, that you do it at the same time and every time, the same place. If it's a routine, then it will become a habit and it will be very easy. After 30 days, if you do it every day over and over and over, it will become a habit and it's not going to be difficult. There will be times when your motivation will be down, but then I think you need to just say to yourself, okay, I'm going to just do it for very easy, like 4 minutes, and then when you start doing it, then at the end you feel better and you're more motivated and you finish the whole routine. So you can encourage yourself and say, okay, I can just do it for a short time, and then you will end up doing the whole routine.
Yeah, I think that's really a very good way of putting it, Miss Jutta. Now, we've been discussing about, we've been mentioning health-related behaviors. So when we really talk about a health-related behavior, Professor, what are you really driving at, or what are we driving at? Is it just something to do with exercise, we want physical activity, or is it something that runs the whole gamut of the food that we eat, the way we live on a day-to-day basis?
The most important thing is to begin to change. There are dozens of healthy behavior that we are expected to practice. But let's begin at least with one. For instance, I would like to suggest to the audience of this beautiful program, eat a rainbow salad every day. If we do that, 30% of cancer might decrease among the population. Prevents cancer. Eating a rainbow salad every day. What is that? It's just beginning your lunch by eating a small plate or a medium plate of 7 colors of raw vegetables. Raw vegetables. You can use as a sauce some calamansi, right?
Which is very easily, you can easily access that here in the Philippines.
With a little salt.
Just
right?
a little of salt.
Yeah, just a little of salt. And if you have access, olive oil is okay. But if it's not, don't worry. But if you just begin with one simple habit, that's going to have a tremendous impact in our health. cholesterol is going to go down, high blood pressure is going to go down, and positive cholesterol might go up if it is accompanied by an exercise program. Simple things. Our digestion will be much better, our mood will improve, and the beauty will increase, especially in women, because of the amount of minerals and vitamins we are going to eat. Constipation won't be there anymore, and people will keep their weight. So it's not important the amount of health behavior we practice. Of course, the more we practice, the better. But let's begin with some simple, very small, something in which we can be victorious. Then we will try to achieve more complicated behaviors. Another simple behavior is just drink 8 cups of water a day. When you are victorious in that, then you move to exercise, then you move to rainbow salad, then you can be engaged in more complicated behavior.
All right. Yes, Miss Yuta. What are the difficulties or challenges that usually a person, okay, on a personal level, like you or me or a professor here, would be faced with when one would want to do a better behavior, you know, to have a behavioral change towards his or her outlook in life, you know, that will gear towards a healthier lifestyle?
I think when you get discouraged, sometimes you get discouraged, and then I think it's important to seek help. Talk to a friend or talk to a counselor or pray. You know, have a connection with God. That's your source of power. So you're not alone, so that you don't feel like you're alone
In your battles.
in your battles. Yeah.
Yes. What about Professor? Professor, so what are the difficulties or challenges that a person may face, you know, in wanting, in trying to have a better behavior so that this person will end up with a better life?
Of course, when you are trying to change a health habit, you are trying to change part of your culture. Is difficult. That is the biggest challenge. One resource that might help, in addition to the prayer was mentioned, and to the evaluation and to look for external help, is self-instructing. My book talks about how to practice self-instructing. This came from what we call cognitive psychology. It doesn't matter the name for now. But self-instructing is the positive instruction to ourselves. We are the result of instructions from our professors, from our parents, from our friends. But in a moment when we try to change a habit, when you stand up in front of a mirror and you talk yourself just for some seconds, and a specific instruction. For instance, Caesar, eating rainbow salad for you is very important. Eating rainbow salad for you, it will give you at least 10 benefits. Go ahead, you can do it. So talk to yourself.
So you are
in
trying
positive.
to reinforce the
Yes.
positive way.
Yeah, when you do that in front of a mirror, let's say you practice this every day for 1 week. Then after that, you repeat the same instruction. Caesar, eating rainbow salad will give you the 10 benefits you have been looking in your life. When you wake up, the first thing you do is repeat yourself 3 times.
It's like a mantra.
Yes. When you repeat at noon, and when you are in your bed ready to sleep, you repeat again, convincing yourself. That has a special power to change the way you thought. And it's going to affect the way you feel. And you're going to like to do the behavior.
And
you're going to be convinced.
it now becomes part of you because you have been
It will
reinforcing.
become not only conscious, but also unconscious. Yes.
So that's actually the goal, that you only have the conscious plus the unconscious. I'd like to thank the both of you for joining me here in Dynamic Living. I learned a lot from this discussion too. Miss Yuta, what would be your message to our viewers, encouraging them, you know, what to do so that they will be able to attain a better life?
When you're struggling and you're alone, remember that there's help available. And don't be ashamed to come for counseling when you need help. You're not alone, and God will help you.
All right. What about Professor? What would be your message to our viewers?
If you are facing a chronic disease, or if you are afraid that sickness may visit your children, remember there is power to change. And that power comes from a skill that you can learn. And you can learn by setting a goal, by programming your new behavior in terms of space and time. And remember, you can change whatever comes to your life if you learn how to change, if you practice this. You have hope in your life when you trust in God and when you develop a new skill with wisdom.
All right, dear viewers, change is something that can be difficult, and any change for that matter, whether it be in the behavior, whether it be in our attitude, whether it be our goals in life. But then change can be something that we can also attain. And for this, 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, if any man be in Christ, the old things are passed away, and all things become new. I'd like to invite you, dear viewers, also to please, if you have the time, to read this book by Professor Galvez, our resource guest here, because I believe that we are able to get some help with the secrets to change. Magandang araw po sa ating lahat.
Dynamic living, making the best of you on fire. Dynamic living, sharing the faith.
So, thank you so much for the privilege of sharing.
If you have been blessed by this program, share hope and help us continue to bring hope everywhere. Send your donations to South Philippine Union Conference through any of the bank details shown here. Hope Channel, sharing love, changing lives.
Salamat sa pagatiman sa ako lang, ha. Miss. Thank you. Ayaw ka bala ka na. Ang importante, magpaayo lang ka.
We are people, and we love to get connected. We connect as families because of birth. We connect as friends because we click. And we connect as communities because we care. Seventh-day Adventists are people who connect in communities called congregations, which in turn connect to form conferences, who connect together to form unions, divisions, and the General Conference. Why do we connect? It starts with a connection to the Creator, who invites us on a spiritual journey. When we journey together, we can help each other along the way. This journey is a journey of a lifetime, and as we learn and grow, life becomes filled with meaning and purpose. Our greatest joy is in helping others along the way. Wherever you are on your journey, we believe that we have something to offer that can make your life more whole. So the next time you see a Seventh-day Adventist, remember, you're not looking at someone who stands alone. They are connected to a world church that has 18 million members, gathered in 13 divisions, comprised of 122 unions, formed by 600 conferences, serving in 140,000 congregations in 208 countries, who worship in 924 languages, and they all want to connect with you.
Of course.
Sometimes. Why not? Yes. My brother.
My mom. And of course, my dad.
The policeman. Boss. My teachers.
My grandpa.
When I'm threatened.
When he stares at me.
When I hear his whistle. When they raise their voice.
When they call me by my full name.
Whenever he calls me like this. Hey, come on, bro. Because they're the law.
He's older than me.
My grade would be at stake.
They're my parents.
Since I'm younger than him, I'll be fired if I don't. You know.
Obedience
Is more than a state of being obedient.
It is our
Willful practice of obedience. Conscious
decision
to obey policemen
To obey your
and
parents.
teachers. It means submission to the rules
which are meant.
to keep us safe. Likewise,
Obedience.
is a manifestation of love. I respect my
I love
parents.
my mom. I love my
Older
dad.
brother.
Besides,
It says we obey
our grandparents,
our older brother, people of authority, our
our
boss,
parents, in the Lord.
Lord.
For this is right.